Hare Krishna, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. So we are
Oh,
continuing.
Shilpa ji, there's just one request. Actually, Deepika informed that yesterday or day before yesterday, Bhavna ji's father-in-law passed away. So if today's class we can
Um,
dedicate to him.
yeah, of course. Yeah, let's dedicate today's class for him. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you able to see the screen? I'm not sure what's.
Now, before I was able to see the 30th shloka, but not now. It's just a single line coming on the screen now.
Yeah, that's what I'm not sure what's happening.
But previously it was there. Yeah,
Now,
now
now we can see.
perfectly fine.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so let's dedicate the class to him. Okay. So would somebody like to recap what we read the last time?
Hare Krishna.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
yeah, so we heard more about uh, Rishikesha, the Lord, Supreme Lord, how we have to understand that He is the controller. Everything comes from Him. And even the ability in a man, the power for the activities, He's the owner of our body. And the whole material world belongs to Him. We also heard about Brahman effulgence. He's the Bhagwan, but his rays are the Brahman effulgence. And then we heard about the Chaturvya incarnations, Sankarshan, and that we have to understand that we have to, he is the primary doer, we are marginal, but we have a choice. So if we can uh, meditate on Rishikesha, chanting continuously will help purify our consciousness and senses. And then when we have those purified consciousness and senses, it will help us to help help to pave the way to understand Krishna. And then the move is revealed when we keep chanting more, we keep ourselves in consciousness with Krishna on our mind. And the merciful Lord, he sees our humble attempt, and and then there is increasing renunciation as we advance in devotional service. So Angira Rishi brought Narad Muni to instruct King Chitraketu about uh, bhakti yoga, because at that stage he was ready for understanding bhakti yoga. In the beginning, Chitraketu was not in that temperament of renunciation, but after the death of his son, he saw the reality. And similar things happen in our life. We face realities time to time. We see the falsity of material world. There are times when we need to be in that grief and in that process of bereavement. We do have to go through that process, but if we can go back to that platform of chanting and purifying our consciousness and senses, then we are at the platform of understanding bhakti yoga. And this is the stage even Chitraketu had come at. And that is why Narad Muni was instructing him about the process of bhakti yoga. And it was very effective at that time because he was fully surrendered to. Citraketu then continuously chanted with great care and attention the mantra that he was given by Narad Muni. He did fasting, drinking water only, and he was fully into just chanting the mantra. And then he came to the planet of Vidyadhara, which is the intermediate product of spiritual advancement. And then within few days, he was by the influence of mantra Chitraketu had practiced, his mind became increasingly enlightened in spiritual progress, and he attained the shelter of the lotus feet of Anantadev. So when a devotee is engaged in devotional service, his material opulence are all spiritual. So even Maharaj Chitraketu, he remained in material opulence as a Vidyadhara Pati, master of Vidyadhara, by executing devotional service without material desires. He became perfect within few days and returned back home to Godhead, taking the shelter of lotus feet of Lord Shesha Ananta. So it's more about the choice that we make at the time of the 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 reality that we might face through situations or whatever it is. We have to remember to come back to that platform of being in consciousness and controlling the senses and keeping Krishna in our mind, not think through mind but think through the pleasure of Krishna, what and trust him and have faith in him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So we are going to now continue reading that Citraketu. He's seeing the Lord face to face. He's seeing Lord Ananta. Mrinala Gauram Shitivasa Samspurat
Mrinalagauram Shitivasamam Sfurat
Kirita Keyura Katitra Kankanam
Kirita Keyura Katitra Kankanam
Prasanna Bhaktra Runalochanam Vritam
Prasanna Vakra Taruna Lochanam Vritam
Dadarsha Siddheshwara Mandale Prabhu.
Dadarsha Siddheshwara Mandale Prabhu.
Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Upon reaching the shelter of Lord Shesha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Citraketu saw that he was as white as the white fibers of a lotus flower. He was dressed in bluish garments and adorned with a brilliantly glittering helmet, armlets, belt, and bangles. His face was smiling, and his eyes were reddish. He was surrounded by such exalted, liberated persons as Sanat Kumar. So, what is the complexion of Lord Shesha?
Kamal Pushpa. Shwet.
Shweta, that's
Yeah, the
right.
white.
White.
Yeah.
White as a lotus flower. And what color garments he's wearing?
Blue.
Bluish garments. And he has all these ornaments around. He's wearing all these ornaments, different ornaments. And is he alone? Is the Lord?
I think yes.
I'm sorry.
No, he's not alone.
Then
He's
is
with
he surrounded?
he's surrounded by the liberated persons as
Yeah, he's
Sanat
surrounded
Kumara.
by devotees. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's surrounded by devotees. The Lord is never alone. He's always surrounded
Yeah.
by his devotees.
And he has lots of flowers, right? All around his body. When
Yeah.
we see his pictures, so many flowers, right? All around
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a long garland of flowers, different flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adarshana samasta kilbishe
Darshanadvasta samasta kilbisha
Vastha malat malanta karanobhayayan vanihi
Swasta
Vastha
Amal
malanta karano vyayanvani
Karana
pravritta bhaktya pranaya shrulochana
Pravradda bhaktya pranayashrulochanaha
praharishta romanamad adi purusham.
Praharashtaromanamad adipurusham.
As soon as Maharaj Citraketu saw the Supreme Lord, he was cleansed of all material contamination and situated in his original Krishna consciousness, being completely purified, he became silent and grave. And because of love for the Lord, tears fell from his eyes and his hair stood on end. With great devotion and love, he offered his respectful obeisances unto the original personality of Godhead. The Vattat Darshanadvasta Samasta Kilbisha is very important in this verse. If one regularly sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the temple, one will gradually be disinfected of all material desires. Simply by visiting the temple and seeing the deity, when one is freed from all the results of sinful activities, one will be purified, and with a healthy mind completely cleansed, he will increasingly make progress in Krishna consciousness. So here, Citraketu is seeing the Lord face to face. He chanted the mantra that Narad Muni gave him. And by chanting the mantra, he is seeing the Lord. He's associating with the Lord. He's not merged into the Lord, but he's seeing the Lord face to face. And he's feeling love for the Lord. He's crying, eyes with tears, hair standing on end. So he's feeling this emotion. He's feeling the great emotion and love for the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada is saying, when we regularly see the deity in the temple, then we get purified. We make great spiritual advancement. By simply visiting the temple, seeing the deity in the temple, our sins, sinful reactions are washed away. So this is how the Lord is so compassionate. We see the Lord, our sinful reactions are washed away. We chant his names, our sinful reactions are past, washed away. We hear about him from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. We read about him. Our sinful reactions are washed away. And we can revive our love for Krishna. Sa-uttama shlok, I'm sorry, Sa-uttama shloka padabja vishtaram.
Uttam shlokapadamcha vistaram
Prema Shrulesher Upame Hayanmuhu.
Prema
Prema Shruleshe Upame
Premo Parudha Khilavarna Nirgamo.
Prema
Premo Parudha Khila Varna
Naiva Shakatam Prasamiditum Charam.
Neva Shakatam Prasamidit.
Chiram.
The tears of love and affection, Citraketu repeatedly moistened the resting place of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. Because his voice was choked in ecstasy for a considerable time, he was unable to utter any of the letters of the alphabet to offer the Lord suitable prayers. All the letters of the alphabet and the words constructed by those letters are meant for offering prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maharaj Citraketu had the opportunity to offer prayers to the Lord by composing nice verses from the letters of the alphabet. But because of his ecstasy for a considerable time, he could not join those letters to offer prayers to the Lord. So here, in this verse, it said, he's seeing the Lord after so long. When we meet someone we love a lot after a long separation, then we may not be able to speak immediately because there's so much emotion there. Yeah. Because of so much emotion, we may not be able to immediately speak. So this is what's happening to Citraketu. His voice is choked up. He's feeling so much love, so much ecstasy. And Prabhupada is saying that the letters of the alphabet are there to offer prayers to Krishna. The words are there so we can offer prayers to Krishna. That's the proper use of words. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.22, Idam hi pumsas tapasa shutasya va swishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayo avichyuto ratha kavibhir nirupito yadottama shloka gunanuvarnana. If one has scientific, philosophical, political, economic, or any other abilities and wants perfection in his knowledge, he should offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by composing first-class poetry or engaging his talents in the service of the Lord. So Prabhupada is saying that one may have a specific ability in a particular field, be it philosophical, scientific, or economic, any ability. And if one wants perfection in one's field, then one should offer prayers to the Supreme Lord or worship the Supreme Lord using whatever talent one may have in the service of the Lord. One may have scientific knowledge, so one can appeal to the scientist community how this creation is created by God. One may be a philosopher, so then one can put forth the philosophy of God consciousness. So on and so forth, engaging the talent in the service of the Lord. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the ability in man. Whatever ability we have is given to us by Krishna. And so the proper use of that ability is to engage it in his service, offer prayers to him. Citraketu wanted to do this, but he was unable because of loving ecstasy. Therefore, he had to wait for a considerable time before he could offer prayers. Tata samadhaya mano manishaya
Manishaya
babasha etat pratilabdha bhagaso.
Prabha
Niyamya sarvendriya vartanam
Niyamya sarvendriyavartanam
Jagad Gurum Satvata Shastra Vigraham.
Jagat Guru
Vigraham.
I'm sorry, thereafter, by controlling his mind with his intelligence and thus restricting his senses from external engagements, he recovered suitable words with which to express his feelings. Thus, he began offering prayers to the Lord, who is the personification of the Holy Scriptures, the Sattvat Samhitas, like the Brahma Samhita and the Narad Pancharatra, and who is the spiritual master of all. He offered his prayers as follows. One cannot offer prayers to the Lord with mundane words. One must become spiritually advanced by controlling the mind and senses. Then he can find suitable words to offer in prayers to the Lord. Quoting the following verse from the Padma Puran, Srila Sanatana Goswami forbids us to sing any song not sung by authorized devotees. So Srila Sanatana Goswami, one of the Goswamis of Vrindavan, is quoting from Padma Puran, and Padma Puran is saying that we should sing the prayers which are sung by the devotees, because then we will be able to properly glorify the Lord. Vaishnava Mukhodgirnam Putam Hari Kathamritam Shravanam Neva Kartavyam Sarpochishtam Yathapaya. The words or songs of a person not fixed in Vaishnava behavior, not strictly following the rules and regulations and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, should not be accepted by pure devotees. The word Sattvat Shastra Vigraham indicate that the Satchidananda body of the Lord can never be accepted to be made of Maya. Devotees do not offer prayers to the Lord in an imaginary form. The existence of the Lord's form is supported by all Vedic literature, because the devotees, they understand the Lord, they understand his position, they understand that the Lord's form, body is transcendental. They are able to suitably glorify the Lord, suitably appreciate his transcendental form. And so that's why we are encouraged to repeat the prayers of the devotees, to be able to properly glorify the Lord, to actually offer proper prayers to the Lord. Citraketu Vacha
Citraketuruvacha
Ajita Jita Samamati
Ajita Jita Samamati
samamatibihi
Sadhu Bir Bhavan Chitatma Bir Bhavata
Sadhu
bhavancitatmabhirbhavatam
Vijitaste Picha Bhajatam
Vijittaste api cha bhajatam
Akamatmanam Ya Atmadoti Karunaha.
Akamanam ya atmadoti karuna.
Citraketu said, O unconquerable Lord, although you cannot be conquered by anyone, you are certainly conquered by devotees who have control of the mind and senses. They can keep you under their control because you are causelessly merciful to devotees who desire no material profit from you. Indeed, you give yourself to them, and because of this, you also have full control over your devotees. The Lord and the devotees both conquer. The Lord is conquered by the devotees, and the devotees are conquered by the Lord. So, this is a loving relationship. The devotees are conquered by the Lord is conquered by the devotees. So, because of being conquered by one another, they both derive transcendental bliss from their relationship. The highest perfection of this mutual conquering is exhibited by Krishna and the gopis. The gopis conquered Krishna, and Krishna conquered the gopis. Thus, whenever Krishna played his flute, he conquered the mind of the gopis, and without seeing the gopis, Krishna could not be happy. So it is reciprocal. Reciprocal. The devotees can't live without Krishna. Krishna can't live without seeing his devotees. The devotees are in the heart of Krishna. Krishna is in the heart of the devotees. It's a reciprocal relationship. Even in the material world, we see any loving relationship, there is reciprocation. One is serving the other is reciprocating. But the perfection of any relationship is our relationship with Krishna. That's the most perfect relationship. That's our eternal relationship. So other transcendentalists, such as Gyanis and Yogis, cannot conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only pure devotees can conquer him. So Krishna is Ajita. No one can conquer God. Who can defeat God? God is most powerful. No one is equal to him or greater than him. But because of the love of the devotee, Krishna allows himself to be conquered by the devotee. For example, there may be a high court judge. He's like a great person, a high court judge, so much power. But when he's at home with his small grandchild, he agrees to become a horse for the grandchild, and the grandchild is sitting on his back and telling him, go here, go there. Like as he's thinking he's like a horse, and the judge also, out of his love, is acting in that way. So it's a loving relationship. Similarly, a loving relationship between God and his devotee. Your devotees are described as samamati, which means that they never deviate from devotional service under any circumstances. It's not that devotees worship the Supreme Lord only when happy. They worship him even when in distress. So the pure devotee is not like part-time. You say, okay, 9 to 5 or 4 to 6 or whatever. No, the pure devotee, 24/7. All the time. 24/7, 7 days a week. In any circumstance, happiness or distress. Happiness and distress do not hamper the process of devotional service. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam says that devotional service is ahai tuki apratihata, unmotivated and uninterrupted, because nothing material can stop devotional service. A pure devotee may be in any situation, any circumstance, continues his loving relationship with Krishna. When a devotee offers devotional service to the Lord without any motive, anyabhilashita shunyam, his service cannot be hampered by any material condition, apratihata. Neha, what is anyabhilashita shunyam?
No other desire, just to serve Krishna, nothing else. No material desires, nothing.
That's right.
Just to
No
be with,
desire.
yeah,
Just to please Krishna.
just to
No desire for gyan, no desire for karma, no desire for mystic perfection. Thank you. So his service cannot be hampered by any material condition. So one may say, oh, I don't have this, so I can't engage in devotional service. I don't have that. No. Devotional service can be performed under any condition because no material condition can stop devotional service. Devotional service is on the spiritual platform. Thus, a devotee who offers service in all conditions of life can conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And because of this loving relationship, he attracts Krishna's heart. You know, love is the most powerful emotion. By love, we can attract another. We attract another person by our love. So the devotee, because of his love for Krishna, he's lovingly serving Krishna. So he attracts Krishna's heart. He conquers Krishna in that way. A special distinction between devotees and the other transcendentalists, namely the Gyanis and Yogis, is that Gyanis and Yogis artificially try to become one with the Supreme, whereas devotees never aspire for such an impossible accomplishment. Devotees know that their position is to be eternally servants of the Supreme Lord and never to be one with Him. Therefore, they are called Samamati or Jitatma. So, someone may have the desire that I want to merge into God, I want to become God, I want to merge into the existence of God. But the devotee never wants that. Devotee, what he wants to love God. He wants to be situated in the loving relationship with God. Have a beautiful, loving relationship. And any relationship, we serve one another. And that service is based on love, not on force or exploitation. It's out of love. Seva. It's out of love. Therefore, they are called Samamati or Jitatma. They detest oneness with the Supreme. They have no lusty desires for oneness. Instead, their desire is to be freed from all material hankering. Therefore, they are called Nishkama, desireless. So, a devotee, he does not have desire to become one with the Lord. He does not want to become God. He just wants to engage in this loving relationship with God. He understands that, oh, I am part and parcel of God. I have a loving relationship with God. Let me engage in that relationship. So that's why he's called Nishkam. He has no material desire. His desire is spiritual desire. To have a loving relationship with God is a spiritual desire. It's a pure desire. That's why he's being called Nishkam. It's also a desire, but because it's pure desire, it's called Nishkam. A devotee cannot exist without desires, but desires that can never be fulfilled are called kama, lusty desires. Kama estes rita jnana. Because of lusty desires, non-devotees are deprived of their intelligence. Thus, they are unable to conquer the Supreme Lord, whereas devotees, being freed from such unreasonable desires, can conquer the Lord. Such devotees are also conquered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because they are pure, being free from all material desires, they fully surrender to the Supreme Lord, and therefore the Lord conquers them. So, pure devotee, they want to be conquered by the Lord. They have the desire, my dear Lord, please steal my heart. They are surrendered to the Lord. They are completely subservient to the will of the Lord. My dear Lord, whatever you wish. Your wish is my command. Like that. So they are conquered by the Lord, and out of their love, because of their love, they conquer the Lord also. There is no other way to conquer the Lord. Someone may say, I want to become God, I want to. That does not attract Krishna's heart. What attracts Krishna's heart is humility, humble service. When one engages in humble service, that's why Lord Chaitanya says, Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi saisnu namanena manedena kirtanya sadahari. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says we should tie this verse around our neck. Only in this mood will we be able to attract Krishna's heart. And when we can engage in devotional service in this mood of Trinadapi sunichena. So, because they are pure, being free from all material desires, they fully surrender to the Supreme Lord, and therefore the Lord conquers them. Such devotees never aspire for liberation. They simply desire to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. So as Lord Chaitanya teaches in the Shikshastakam, that I don't want wealth, I don't want followers, I don't want any amount of women. What I want is to engage in your devotional service life after life. This is what Prabhupada is saying. So this is the desire of the devotee. As Lord Chaitanya is also teaching us in Shikshastakam prayers, what is the heart of the devotee? How does the devotee pray? Lord Chaitanya is teaching us that the pure devotee is just praying, I want to engage in pure devotional service. Pure devotional service is actually liberation. One, as Krishna says, that devotional service to him begins from the point of liberation. So the pure devotee is already liberated. He's understood, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. We are bound. We are thinking we are the body. Liberation means to understand, oh, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. So the pure devotee is understood, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. And he's engaging in activity of the soul. So he's liberated. So because they serve the Lord without desires for remuneration, they can conquer the mercy of the Lord. So the pure devotee, he's serving the Lord, not that, oh, Krishna, I'm going to do this for you, then you give me this. I'll do this service for you, then you give me X amount of money, or you give me this much or that much. It's not a contract. It's just serving out of love. The mother is serving the kid only out of love. She's not saying, oh, you do this for me, you do that for me. Out of love, she's serving. Similarly, the devotee is serving Krishna out of love. And this is how they attract Krishna's heart, attract Krishna's mercy. The Lord is by nature very merciful, and when he sees that his servant is working without desires for material profit, naturally he is conquered. So here we can see Srila Prabhupada is saying this quality of Krishna, that Krishna is very merciful. He's just waiting for us to approach him. He's waiting for us that, oh, we should also have a desire to somehow be situated in our relationship with him. Devotees are always engaged in service. Savemana Krishna Padara Vindayor Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunanu Varnane. All the activities of their senses are engaged in the service of the Lord. Because of such devotion, the Lord gives himself to his devotees as if they could use him for any purpose they might desire. Of course, the devotees have no purpose other than to serve. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, as you surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. How much ever we surrender, Krishna rewards to that degree. So the pure devotee fully surrenders himself to Krishna, and Krishna gives himself to the devotee then. Krishna reciprocates. So when a devotee fully surrenders and has no aspiration for material profit, the Lord certainly gives him all opportunities for service. This is the position of the Lord when conquered by his devotees. Comments? Any comments? Questions?
We have seen so many beautiful devotees. We have been reading and like how devotional service is the only way, and how devotees are always like Prahlad Maharaj. He's such a devotee. What we are reading about, yes, everything that he had no other desire. He just kept on serving, remembering, chanting Krishna, and even when he was in so much danger, he never left the shelter of Krishna. He never left his lotus feet. He still continued remembering. So we are not like that. We do fall. So we are practicing devotees. And I think, like how you mentioned, that prayers are very, very important. And the prayers by acharyas are very, very important. So I think we should try to do at least one prayer a day. And we should pray to Krishna that no matter what, please, no matter what, I should not forget you. Like, you know how we have read in one of the prayers that devotee doesn't aspire for any material things also, and he doesn't even care. He says that Krishna, keep me in heaven or hell or anywhere, but I should not forget you. Keep me anywhere. Make me anything. I don't care, but I should not forget you. I should be able to serve you in any condition. So this is so important, so beautifully, like each line, like we just read the whole, it is like, maybe 6 paragraphs, but every paragraph is so deep. Like how beautifully you have explained. So, wow.
Thank you. Yeah, as you said, no. So that's how Lord Chaitanya's prayers, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam, ma jagadisha kami, mama janmani janmanishwari, bhavatad bhakti rahit kitvai. Just give me, engage me in your devotional service, life after life, life after life. Thank you so much. Power of prayer, very good. Going on. Let's see how long is this. What shall we do? Attempt to read it or one?
It is 4 minutes we have. So we can, if you are okay, then we can read, or if you want, we can also stop. It's up to you. Please take a call.
Yes. Yeah, let's see. We'll begin and let's see how much
Okay.
can we do. Tava vibhava khalu bhagavan.
Tava vibhavaha
Vibhavaha
khalu
khalu
bhagavan,
Bhagavan.
Jagat Uddaya Sthiti Layadini.
Jagat Dayas
Udaya Sthiti Layadi.
Vishwasrijastim Shamshas.
Vishwasrijanste
Sajaste
Purushashaha
Nishmamsha.
Matram Rishas Pradanti Prathak Abhimatya.
Tatra Mritas
Rishabh
Swastanti
Padanti
Prithak
Prathak
Abhimatya.
Abhimatya.
My dear Lord, this cosmic manifestation and its creation, maintenance, and annihilation are all but your opulences. Since Lord Brahma and the other creators are nothing but small portions of a portion of you, their partial power to create does not make them God, Ishvara. Their consciousness of themselves as separate lords is therefore merely false prestige. It is not valid. A devotee who has fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord knows very well that the creative energy of the living entities, from Lord Brahma down to the small ant, exists because the living entities are part and parcel of the Lord. So here Prabhupada is explaining that, we each of us have some ability. Where is the ability coming from? Krishna says, I am the ability in man. We may get proud of our ability. So I can do this so well. I can do that so well. Why? Because we forget that I'm a part and parcel of Krishna. I've gotten this ability because of Krishna's grace. In Bhagavad Gita 15.7, the Lord says, Mama Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. The living entities are nothing but very small portions of the Supreme Spirit, like sparks of a fire. Because they are part of the Supreme, they have a creative quality and a very minute quantity. So we have some creativity in us. Each of us are creative in different fields, different areas. And we have this creativity because Krishna is the Supreme Creator. He's the most intelligent creator. By just trying to understand this material world, we can see that how much, how Krishna thinks. His creation is so beautiful, how he's thought of every detail. So we may create something wonderful, but Krishna creates supremely wonderful. The so-called scientists of the modern materialistic world are proud because they have created modern facilities like great airplanes. But the credit for creating the airplanes should go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not to the scientists who have invented or created the so-called wonderful products. The first consideration is the intelligence of the scientist. One must be elevated to the dictation of the Supreme Lord, who says in Bhagavad Gita 15.15, Madasmitir Jnanam Apohanam Cha. From me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So Prabhupada is saying we get proud. Oh, I have created this. We have the modern civilization. We have the aeroplanes. But what are we doing? We are simply, we can be engineers. We are taking the elements which are already created by Krishna and transforming them in different ways to produce different things, but we cannot create the elements. We can't be creators. Sure, we can be engineers. We can engineer something or the other because the raw materials are all coming from Krishna. He's the one who's giving us this. And he's also giving us the intelligence. He's giving us the knowledge. He's giving us the remembrance. He's giving us the forgetfulness. Because the Supreme Lord as Super Soul sits within the core of every living entity's heart, the dictation by which one advances in scientific knowledge or creative faculties comes from him. Furthermore, the ingredients to manufacture wonderful machines like airplanes are also supplied by the Lord, not by the scientists. Before the airplane was created, ingredients already existed, having been caused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when the manifested creation of the airplane is ruined, the remaining debris is a problem for the so-called creators. So the ingredients are supplied by Krishna, the intelligence is supplied by Krishna, the knowledge is supplied by Krishna. We're simply transforming these ingredients. And of course, then when we create something, then we break it apart, then we don't know what to do with these broken parts. Another example is that the West is creating many automobiles. The ingredients for these cars are supplied, of course, by the Supreme Lord. And the intelligence for the so-called creation is also supplied by the Lord. Ultimately, when the cars are demolished, the so-called creators are faced with the problem of what to do with the ingredients. The actual creator, the original creator, is the personality of Godhead. Only in the interim does someone create something with intelligence supplied by the Lord, and later the creation again becomes a problem. Therefore, the so-called creator is not to be credited with the act of creation. The only credit goes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna, he is the creator. He's the supreme creator. He's the creator of all the ingredients, the elements. We are simply taking what he has given and we do kind of a sub-creation. We may create a painting, or we may create a nice dish, or, we make so many things we may create, but all the ingredients, we are taking it from God, what's already been provided to us. So the rightful creator is the Supreme Lord. It is rightly stated herein that the credit for all the opulences of creation, maintenance, and annihilation belongs to the Supreme Lord, not to the living entities. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah. I just heard to Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, he said that, like how beautifully, like we have mentioned, that how he has created everything and how. So he said that one day of man is equal to 25 days of butterfly. because the butterfly cycle is of 4 days. So he said that man feels so proud, but how time is relative, like when we compare, and then 6 months of demigods is equal to only 1 day. So like when you see a butterfly, you feel, oh, that I have such a long life. But in the same time, when you compare your life with the demigod or Brahma, then you see that, oh, you are just nothing.
Yep. It's true.
So, like, there is so much to look. Like, we just forget even a leaf has so much in it. Not all the leaves. One single leaf is different from any millions and trillions of leaf in the world. No two leaves are similar. No two humans are similar. So, like, his creation is so wondrous. And we forget to look to it. And we are engaged in our everyday troubles and things that doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter.
So true. So true. Thank you for that. Thank you. So we'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Thank you all for joining.